So the investment banking services that we provide to clients that are related to or tangential to or are public companies, or has a public company aspect to it, is a core part of our business. And I think what we offer that's a little bit different is that we all come from an environment where large public companies were a part of the client base, but at the same time, we have a very strong practice in the private markets, and so I think what we are able to do is kind of marry those capabilities. There are a lot of public companies that fall below the thresholds that the large service providers require, and for those types of clients where we have good knowledge of private markets, private market valuations, we can bring that capability to our public company clients, whether those are mid-cap or small cap. That's kind of a unique proposition that I think we can offer. The other thing is that what we're finding more and more is that M&A transactions for public companies are almost always being contested. There always seems to be a shareholder, a minority shareholder, that reacts to a specific transaction or a specific strategy that a public company might have, and they immediately or eventually start to criticize the board or the management team about what they're doing, saying that they're not doing their job, they're not doing their duty, they're not maximizing shareholder value, the transaction is conflicted. A lot of these contested situations end up where directors find themselves right in the crosshairs of criticism, and so they need to make sure that they're being well advised and that they've got people that have been through this a bunch of times, that don't get too riled by some of these criticisms, and that can navigate the sometimes treacherous waters of these contested situations. And what we also find is that a lot of these contested situations ultimately or potentially could end up in litigation, and in these sort of very complex commercial litigation situations, there isn't a lot of expertise that's often available in these complex commercial litigations. We find ourselves at being able to provide evidence in these types of situations on how are complex commercial transactions normally done. How do buyers normally behave in an M&A transaction? What is involved in a fairness opinion? What is involved in a valuation? How do investors value different aspects of a transaction? How do they respond to different types of transactions? And so, there are lots of firms out there that you can hire to quantify damages or do statistical studies of stock prices and things like that. But there aren't a lot of firms out there that are prepared to sort of offer an opinion about, here's the way the capital markets work in this particular transaction or in this particular situation. And because of our, the many decades of experience our different partners have and the seniority and our bread and butter is working on complex transactions. So when we find ourselves in a situation where a litigator or a board member or something like that needs an expert view on how the world really works and being able to communicate that to a judge or another stakeholder group, we've now done it dozens of times, and we're really good at it. And the reason we're really good at it is that we don't treat it as a cookie cutter product that we're selling over and over and over again. That we view the product as being, if you ask me a question, I will give you my honest views on it. And that's critical as it relates to the expert opinion practice. Obviously a big part of that practice also involves valuations and fairness opinions. Most of these contested situations, boards need an independent view on value of the transaction, or, there are often particular difficult aspects or structural aspects of a transaction, whether it's a restructuring or an M&A transaction, where they need an independent view, either to confirm what's already been done or to assist them in negotiating to get to the right result. And again, that's a very robust part of our practice.